Hello and welcome to another Lord of the Rings Rise to War video. I'm the player who plays as the King Under the Mountain, and today I am going to do my final season update review on what I am now dubbing the best season I've ever played in Lord of the Rings Rise to War. We are going to go through some battle reports, we are going to go through the leaderboards, we are going to go through what's happened in the last week or so in the map, because things have changed quite substantially. And not to allude to what's actually going on today, there is a significant amount of hold on from the Mordor Kingdom. So with less than 24 hours to go, obviously I play in Toby, which is part of Mordor this season, with Honk and Dong. And with less than 24 hours to go, these are the permutations of what could go on today. We could end with 2 capitals and a ring. We could end with 1 capital or the ring and another capital, so 2 in effect, or we could actually end with just 1 single capital. This also changes other people's rewards. It could mean that Loth end up with 3 capitals. It could end up with Erebor end up with 3 capitals. Both currently have 2. It's a crazy season, okay? So this is the Erebor front, where we are literally trying to hold the line here. There are armies coming in all the time to these bases. We are guarding from the middle. It's pretty nuts, to be fair. This has been going on for a long time now. I will probably just guard 1 army while we're on, just so I can kind of show that I have actually got full barracks at the minute, but we will just show that it's pretty intense. There is a lot of armies here that are still trying to push towards Barad-dûr, and it's just been one of those seasons. It's been literally incredible, to be honest. Everyone's tired at this point. Everyone's worked hard. Every faction has done something that they can definitely be proud of this season. I will just take this hit, and then I will go into what I would normally do as a season review. But at the moment, trying to defend these bases is quite the priority. So here we go. So hopefully we'll take this hit and I can stop guarding. I would assume it will probably be a draw. I only got a little bit of the hit, so I'll just stay guarding. I'll leave it there for now. So let's go into the normal stuff that we do. So personal affluence. Mavius, still King Farmer of Middle-earth. We will check where he would sit in the Fellowship rankings if he was an individual. Hero has been second in this for a long time now, and I think Marcus from Animal's been 3rd or 4th, depending on where Emmy sits. I mean, however Emmy's got 58k is pretty astounding, really. I'm going to miss Emmy. I think I'm allowed to say this now, I would think. Emery leaves us at the end of the season, and he's going back to see some friends from a different team. I cannot thank him enough for everything that he's ever said or done from our side, because he's been a phenomenal player for us and a great sort of in-fellowship friend as far as that goes. So Emmy, you'll be missed. Hope you come back one day. There is a lot of bears in here. There is some salt in here. There is some wind in here. Literally in the affluence ranking, same as the merit board, there is everyone. There is Honk, there is DK, there's Wise, there's even some Turk. Like, there is just everything. And Theo, of course. I've kind of sat in the top 50 for a long period of time. I haven't been trying to push affluence because I've been needing the tiles to sort of basically tile up to night time. And we'll sort of go into the flow of the season shortly. Merit board wise, I did move up quite substantially here. So we are, I'm up to 13th now. And if we look at the top 10, it's an impressive number. I mean, the cheese tax from Bear is now top. Outperformed Raven in the last week or so. He's had a phenomenal week, to be honest. I think he's done about 2 million merit in about a week and a bit. I mean, Raven's no slouch in PvP. We then have another bear. We then have some salt. We have animals. So that is the 2 Gondor fellowships right there. The sort of larger ones. BZKH, they're 3rd. We have some more bear. We have some more salt. We have more animal. We have Honk. We have Yu, who are in Linden. So this is pretty much every faction is now covered. I'm in 13th. We have more bear. We have some DK. We have more Honk. There is literally wind. There is Loth. Everyone is in this list, right? All the way down. And if we look at the final figures for the season, for the top 100. Obviously, there's still, a few hours left to go. 4.1 million for a season to get into the top 100. That is a big number, and it just shows how brilliant this season's been and how well balanced it's been. And we'll see that from the map in a minute, to be perfectly honest. I am trying to keep this one fairly brief today because I'd like to do kind of like a summary video, I think, tomorrow before we hit back end. As for Fellowship Affluence, we have Bear at 3.8 million, who have come down slightly. I think they were at 4.1. We have DK at 3.4. We have Hunk at 3.3. And we have Toby, which is me, at 3.1. You then have Salt, Deacon, Odin, Wind, Theo, Azagal, the other Fellowship in Arnor, Kaffa, the third Fellowship Variable, who have been really good, I have to say, to help alongside the DK Kingdom. We have the singular Rohan Fellowship. We have Animal, Otter, LCDT from Linden, Spod. You've got BZKH, who are aligned with Erebor. And then you have the Microdong, and then we go into slightly smaller teams. But realistically, that's a lot of fellowships on the server. They're all really active going into last day, and we'll see the pins shortly. So Mavius would currently be 37th, I think, in the fellowship rankings. Not a bad effort for an individual, to be fair. I think it's 37, or is he over 64? Oh, he is. Okay, he's moved up a place. I take it back. So Mavius is currently 36th in fellowships. Great effort for an individual, to be fair. I'm not going to go into the commander board because I don't really see the point. As you can see, I have died while talking through that. It's pretty nuts at the moment, this whole thing. So that's another death for me. So that's that. So we're going to go into the map, I think, at this point, because it's quite important to show where things are at. So this here, this is how close. And to be honest, when this comes out, it's not going to matter where forts and pins and things are. So I'm just going to zoom in a little bit. So this is where the current fighting is. This is where my base is. This is what we're trying to defend in Barad-dûr. So basically, the Erebor Kingdom are coming through here and looking to push Barad-dûr. Obviously, they need 6 hours to build a fortress. So our main aim at Barad-dûr is to defend long enough, which is what we've been doing for the last week or so. That we've been slowly getting pushed back from here. They took this pass, and then we actually took it back because we assumed they were going to try and flank us and block us from the centre. So we actually took that back pretty much straight away the same night, to be honest. Then I'm trying to get this in any kind of order that makes sense, to be honest. So our plan today is just to defend Barad-dûr here until within 6 hours of timer, then that's sorted. And then we will defend the ring area. Now, we are getting help with the ring area, and I will just zoom in here so you can see. So in the ring area, we currently have Bear, who are helping in this area from Arnor. And Loth are attacking quite extensively from here. I think I can, I would say I think I can zoom out a little bit, but it's seemingly not letting me. I don't really know why. So you have Loth pushing towards, I think they've actually changed a slight direction. So they're pushing towards the Bear Fellowship Fort currently. It's pretty close with the Loth scenario. So we do have forts here. Loth are pretty much at the Fellowship Fort. To my knowledge, Loth have 12 hours to build a Fellowship Fort. So they are looking at either the Bear one or the South Side one, which would be the one that Honk owns. So Loth kind of, I think, need 12 hours. So that's slightly more defendable, I would say, to obviously build that in their regard. So that's kind of the state of where we're currently at. Loth probably, I'm not sure if it's necessarily classed as a mistake, so I don't know what time they had. But they've surrounded SAV for a period of time. And I think if they'd have took SAV, they would have only needed 6 hours to build a Fellowship Fortress because it's actually linked. So I think because they're not linked to DG in any way, it's actually a 12-hour fortress, which could end up costing them the ring, to be perfectly honest. Could, might not do, but could. So that'll be an interesting scenario. We'll see how that plays out. Obviously, we'll talk about that tomorrow. But at the moment, Mordor are in possession of 3 capitals in regards to the Ring, Barad-dûr, and of course, Ridersburg. DK currently have 2. So this is the Erebor Kingdom here. You have Loth, who currently have 2. You have Arnor, who have 3, and we'll kind of go into what happened there. And you also have Gondor, who have 3, who have kind of taken away Linden's capital recently. So we're going to talk through the last week of the map now. So that was the current state of affairs. This is where we're at. So around a week or so ago, everything was looking pretty okay for the Mordor Kingdom, and we were sort of quietly confident that we would be able to sit and kind of calmly, not calmly, but sort of think that we were getting to the 3 caps and we were going to be able to keep that scenario quite okay. So we'd taken Ashen Plains Pass and we were pushing towards Ashen Plains. Now, rightfully for Arnor were giving aid in the centre, so Honk could come south to help us here. So there was 2 Honk squads in the middle, 1 Honk squad in the south of us, and we were doing okay against DK. We were actually pushing back a little bit, and we were actually thinking about being able to potentially get to Kinland at the time. Or Kindland, depends on which way you want to do it. And unfortunately for us, but rightfully for them, Arnor basically said, look, we'd like to try and get our 3rd capital from Angmar. In effect, this kind of created a 3-day nap, really, with Loth. Not officially, but kind of did that while they went to take the 3rd capital in Angmar. So, in effect, we sort of then got aimed at, really, by the 3 Loth fellowships, which are great fellowships, by the way, in Odin, Otter, and Wind. And then at the same time, we obviously had the 3 fellowships from the DK Kingdom of Koffa and the 2 DKs. So we were kind of 6v2 for around 3 or 4 days. And it really hurt us. So we went from kind of having SAV under control. We had Gorgoroth under control. And we just, from overwhelming weight of numbers, to be perfectly honest, we're just getting slowly pushed back. Thankfully, after 3 or 4 days, Bear took the capital, took this pass here, and then kind of come back to the centre. So they are now helping again in the centre, and have done for the last few days, which has really aided us. Otherwise, I think we'd have probably already lost either the ring or the capital at this stage. But those 3 or 4 days really hurt what we were trying to achieve as a fellowship and as a faction, really, to be honest. DK obviously never give up, and to be fair to Loth, neither have they. So the fact that this is the last day of the server and these pins and everything else, and there's so much up in the air, is pretty incredible. Gondor have kind of had their own little battle with Linden and a little bit of Angmar for most of the season, so they've actually took the Grey Havens, so they now have 3 capitals also. They've had a really good season themselves. We napped with them early on, and they basically made their way over here and fought sort of Angmar and Linden, and I think they've had a lot of fun themselves. I mean, their pin is still 2.8 million dead out with 6 days over here, so they've got some smaller ones where they've been running through and moving through. Angmar have had a pretty unlucky season to some degree. I think they've done a lot of fighting, same as Linden, really. To end with nothing's pretty harsh on both of them, I would say, at this stage. I'm not sure that's going to change at this point, but it's been a really good season for purely fighting. I don't think anyone's got a chance of getting Khan done back. Bear are pretty much sewn up. They're the one group of people, I would say, that are actually guaranteed to end with 3 capitals at this stage. So then we'll just go through the rest of the pins. So you have a 1.1 million death pin at the top of Angmar, which is basically Bear looking after the capital to a degree. We have 890k here between Theo, Azagal, Bear, and Cope. Little Theo as well. I don't know why they changed the name. They were in capitals at one point, I thought. You have a pin between Rohan and Gondor down here. And these are all the smaller pins, but the reality is, as you get into the centre, the pins get bigger. So there's a 2.3 million death pin here that's been going on. That's been slowly declining, as you can expect, because they've kind of pushed through. And then this is the sort of other pin of 9.4 million deaths in Amon Lank. Bear on top of that pin, and that just goes to show you the help that they've actually given in that region. It has been really, really sort of helping to us. The big pin that we've been involved in, and it's a pretty impressive pin, to be honest. It's moved around a little bit, and it's kind of moved down. But with less than 24 hours to go in the season, 16.4 million death pin and a 12-day pin. To which, quite proudly, Toby are on top, but you would expect that because we've been the main fighting force down there for a long period of time. Honk have now got 2 squads down here with us as well, which are kind of helping defend that area really well. We won't be playing with Honk next season. I know some things have been said along the way in World Chat and things like that, but actually, to be fair, they've been a great Kingdom partner, and reality is that we've had 2 great seasons with them, and it's a shame we couldn't get another ring badge on the back of this, but I can only really wish them well in the future, and I believe, and I say I believe, we'll be seeing them in the very near future and fighting against them, so it could be quite interesting. But yeah, no, it's been a really, really good partnership, and it's worked really well. I am hopeful at this stage that we will keep the ring and Barad Dûr and end with 3 capitals, which I think is arguably what, in my opinion, we deserve from this season, because I think we've been very, 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 very good. So that's kind of the map. Like I say, we stopped the flank, which really, really helped us by taking that pass back. I think if DK had a flank through into Dagalad, then they could have had 2 days of basically ripping our resources apart and potentially cutting us from the centre, because if they'd have come around here, they could have taken Black Gate. And if they'd have taken the Black Gate, or even just surrounded the Black Gate, we would not be able to get to centre because we didn't have a route. So this pass, once they took it, was really important, I think, for us to get back. I'm not sure if that was their plan or not, or whether they were just trying to sort of create a border. But reality was we couldn't really take that risk, so we did take that back. But yeah, this pin's pretty good considering, but it's been like I say, a phenomenal server, and I think everyone's enjoyed it. I'm just going to refill my troops, I think. So I have got a backup camp just in case they did get close to Barad Dûr, which is literally just round the corner, so I can kind of move quickly if need be. I haven't been uprooted this season, but only just, to be perfectly honest. Apothecary's looking full already today. So, just to look at this. So, from a resource point of view, we're in a pretty healthy position. I don't think I've actually got my merit store today. No, I haven't got my merit store today. So, in a barracks point of view, considering it's the last day, we're looking very good. We will definitely be fighting a lot today, but it's because I've basically just cranked out Guardians for a long period of time. I do now have some Bow Knights, which I'm going to switch on to Saruman soon, which will definitely improve my results. But reality is, with the amount of affluence that I have and the resource pool that I have at this moment in time, it's been quite hard to actually destroy my barracks, which has been really helpful. So that's kind of helped with that figure. We will continue to fight, I would suspect, throughout the day. I have a couple of workshops running around here. They're only small ones. I would have thought this would have actually been it's disabled. I need to just take this tile off someone here or move up to this one here, I guess. That one there I need. I forgot about that when I made this, so I kind of need that tile to make that one turned on. I have got, just to increase my grain really was kind of the intention here. So that was that. So that's the front. Like I said, I did want to try and keep this fairly brief today. My season review is going to be a large one, I think, for what it is. There's a long way to go still today, but I think we may be okay, depending on what happens here. So, just going through a few battle reports while we can. And this kind of was the desperation of the other day. So the C and B team have even been out and doing okay. So this was the B team. I was okay with this, considering I'm using full Guardians and he had Trolls. The B team, I obviously just switched my A team gear across. And this is kind of one of those fights whereby, realistically, I do outgear them, but he has got Dane in there. So, my A team gear that I switch over is pretty good. Pretty solid. I enjoy Witch King as a tank, and Gandalf kind of tanks for me as well, particularly with Glamdring. I'd really like to refine Glamdring if possible. But yeah, this was kind of the B team out and about. I'd like to show some different battle reports. Like I say, I do like to show some different people I've been fighting. So again, the A team, the gear is the same gear pretty much, apart from I have a elemental damage set on Saruman. And we DK are a really, really strong kingdom. It's been their strength isn't necessarily in the size of their accounts, even though they do have some big accounts. It's just the activity. It's completely crippling. I've had a couple of really good results versus DK in the last couple of days, which I'm quite pleased about, to be honest. because there isn't many people that I see running around in servers regularly who have a better Dane than me and make me feel a little bit jealous. But consider I'm very heavily outgeared there, I was quite happy with that. And again, we're back to the value of Guardians. Not sure why. See, his Dane is very similar to my Dane. I've probably just got a little bit more unit defense. He's got a lot more protection, whereas I'm going for a lot more damage. With the way that I run my formation, arguably these two tank a little bit better, I suppose. So it's allowing me to kind of do that. And maybe if he'd have switched those two around, that'd be a very different result. So that was DK. This was... I really enjoy fighting this guy. He normally comes at me with like, what's this all about? Like, how are you supposed to chew through that when someone's actually got some quite decent gear? I mean, this is probably the hardest 5k merit that I've fought for this season, quite sadly. And I get it's not kind of best in slot gear across the board, but like three lots of trolls, and then some Iron Warriors. So I was pretty happy with that, to be honest. But I feel like that should definitely be worth more than 5k. So that was that. This was the C team, sort of wandering around, and like I say, I put Frodo in here just to tank a little bit more. Scal just uses my my Saruman gear, and you know, this guy's he's okay, to be fair. We fought him a few times this season. He runs quite an interesting formation, but it's about picking fights with the C team more than anything else. But he runs quite an interesting formation with Elrond and Isildur. And Thorin, to be fair, but the consistent damage from them two. I've seen a few fights of him where he's got them up to 90k each, so it's been quite interesting to sort of see different formations running around. I did lose this fight, and I do like to put in losses every now and again, but this one, again, resource-wise, I won. This guy does beat me quite a lot of the time, to be perfectly honest, although in the last day or so I've noticed that I've been beating him a little bit more. He's got a very similar kind of setup to me, just Skalhelm instead. So that was good. Enjoyed that. I always think Skalhelm's fool's gold. The amount of investment in here rather than in here just sort of shows the difference, really. And then we had the last fight, which was with this guy from Coffer. And again, they are resource heavy. I don't know where they're getting the resources from for the last day, to be perfectly honest. But, you know, the value of a Guardian... I've been running Trolls and 3 Guardians for a few days since I've been able to afford to get some Trolls back in my barracks, really. Just because the way that DK fight isn't necessarily head-on. That's a nice Gala, actually. So it isn't necessarily head-on. It's you waste a lot of your main stamina making sure that you can path forward while they path in a different direction a lot of the time. Unless they have to hit you. If they physically have to hit you, they'll hit you all day long, which is what they're doing now. But their strength really is in their movement. So 200k there as well by Dane. So it's quite interesting because when we were at areas whereby we've had to hold, like areas like today, for example, my barracks will drain today. Probably need to defend this base. My barracks will drain today. However, generally it won't drain too much because my main doesn't get in too many fights. They'll pick fights more with the B team than the A team and then kind of go from there. And that's kind of where we're at with the season, really. Like I say, less than 24 hours to go. Lots of results still possible for lots of different teams. It's been an amazing season no matter what happens from this point. And I think people are going to enjoy a long break in Bag End if they can get one. Particularly us. But as far as game balance goes, as far as excitement goes, you couldn't ask for more in a season. And it's been one of the greatest seasons, I think, that personally I've ever played. Probably the greatest season I've ever played at this point, to be honest. And I don't think just from the sort of weekly updates and things it can do it justice. I hope it does it some justice, but the reality is it's been a lot of great teams in a very, 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 very sort of compact server. And I've said this before, it's a great testament to all the leadership teams that it's coming to the last day and there's so many results still possible. And, you know, there are just not servers like that out there anymore, it feels sometimes. So, you know, fair play to everyone for setting that up in that way and managing to make it so that it's stayed this way without too much contention, shall we say. But on that point, as always, there is nothing more for me to say at this point. So I will be back with a season review. But if in doubt, always follow your nose.